I I
Uh,
I I practice regenerative leadership. I just love regenerative leadership. Everything that I do was just inspired by nature. When I lead the same way as well because I try to make my people to have that rest, to have that break, to understand that life is too short. You can't give what you don't have. If you're dead today, life goes on. You're replaceable. So I those fundamentals to me, just exactly how I shape myself and how I lead.
welcome back to the Connectors podcast, where we talk about what it really takes to create meaningful connection in life, work, and community. I'm Quinton Sheriff, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jolyn Showalter. Today, we're joined by someone who embodies innovation through connection, Kelly Dowd. Kelly is a best-selling author, designer, and systems architect who's redefining how people, planet, pragmatism, and profit can actually work together in leadership and design.
As founder and CEO of FIDA Design and editor-in-chief of Why These Matter, Kelly brings design and intelligence, sustainability, and storytelling into powerful frameworks that reimagine what collaboration and integrity look like in business. Their book, The Power of Hands, has become a rallying point for leaders building purpose-driven systems all over the world. Today, we'll explore how design thinking and storytelling shape connection, what integrity looks like in leadership, and why reimagining collaboration might just be the key to building a more connected future. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm thrilled to be here and to meet your audience as well, virtually, of course. So I'm really happy.
We finally
Absolutely,
made it.
absolutely.
We finally made it.
We did. Yes, I can't wait to see how this unfold, and most importantly, to deep dive into the conversations that really makes us human, and perhaps all what we can do to explore that integrative collaboration, because it's something that is really missing, and perhaps something that needs to come back to the room again. So really happy to be here with you too.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing that. I love that you're mentioning collaboration because for me personally, I find I'm a high collaborator. And I had learned an interesting fact not long ago that when two people come together, it's not twice as powerful, but it's actually 11 times more powerful. So I just like this idea that we're going to talk a bit about that because I think if you can work with the right collaborators and bringing a vision and a design and all those cool things to life, then it's so powerful and it's really fun too.
Indeed.
I want to start off with something that you were just talking about, where you were saying about how it's human, and when we come back to the human and then we look through their stories, we can connect in and collaborate in a stronger way. And I want to know, because I'm also a designer, so where did you start as a designer? And then how did it end up in designing and writing a whole book? Because that's a huge thing.
Oh gosh, you almost brought me to tears, which you were successful at, by that by the framing of your question. Something fascinating about design that I've come to learn over the years, this design is one of those incredible skills slash field that transcend all sectors. And when you're talking about people design, even intelligence design, or if we're talking about service design or product design or place design and all that. So, to your question, my design foundation started with fashion, actually, because my mom happened to be a gorgeous fashion designer. And she was a fashion model.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah, my mom happens to be a fashion designer, which started as a fashion model. And being a single mom, I will be candid. I know this is going to be out there, but it's just the reality of life. My mom had me when she was 13 and a half. So it was very, very young. With that comes with the society drama, as we all know it. And
Mm.
I was born in Nigeria. I'm British educated, and now I call myself an American Chihuahua. But it is what it is because of how, things transcend. But
Mhm.
dating back to Nigeria, we had a culture where it's just palpable for me to say that if you are a child that got into, motherhood at a very early age, or a person in general, you will be ridiculed, and your child, of course, will be called a bastard. In this case, my dad wasn't in the picture. So, and Not to give too much details of how it all unfolded, but it wasn't this pretty or this a well-designed life that my mom hoped for. But I would say, fast forward, things are extremely better and we're happy. But to just give you that cap, I remember when I was young, one of the things that I do is to sit next to my mom's sewing machine. Okay. Well, little did I know that I was autistic, so which means the sound drives me crazy, but I did not understand what it was because dating back to Nigeria then. But all I recall was each time my mom is having conversations with our clients, my brain shields itself with sketches. So I
Mm.
start drawing, the conversation, what I hear. To the extent it was incredibly weird because I will even sketch my mom's client, little minions, of course, because I am not Picasso, come on. So, and I would do all of those. And when my mom's client leave, I would show her, I said, Mom, I beg you, I'm about to show you something. And this is how I started. Please don't beat me. I'm so sorry. I couldn't play with the other kids because they were calling me a bastard. So that is why I have to do this. And my mom said, Will you stop talking too much? I just show me what you did. I said, Okay, okay. I was so nervous. Again, if you understand African mom, especially Nigerian mom, you will know that they're very tough. Yes. So
Yeah.
I showed my mom the sketches, right, of all the clients and what my ears heard that the client was trying to articulate to her in terms of the form, the shape of the dress or skirts. And my mom was like, wow, this is incredible. Can I hire you? We joked and we're like, oh yeah, please, child labor, and she's like, come on, you're my child. So that was how it started, right? It started as a dramatic time of me trying to shield myself from the societal hubris, and the pain that it inflicted into designing for my just sketching for fun. And before I knew it, that I became a fashion model myself. I became a pageant king, and my love for design started like evolving into the fashion lens. Then comes sociology, which is the whole time incredible design of people itself and society. So, anywho, and that was how I studied sociology, opened my eyes, then integrated social psychology, moved then to interior design, interior architecture. Then from there, it's just, again, studying HR. So there's just a whole lot of interconnected thread in terms of
Mhm.
how design became a foundation and became
Mm.
something that I recognize that you can use as a tool to systemically bring society together all apart because everything is systemic design. And the way it works is it can either make or break, right? It's just like the hands. You can make or break with the hands. So that was how my evolution of design started and got me to this space. And not to forget to corporate design. I worked at KPMG for years, and
Okay.
yeah, one of the things I did at KPMG was pure corporate and system design, even designing a whole virtual space. I mean, COVID, right, to bring clients in to Mural and Miro and things like that. Then there was just really a lot. And for me, everything always add on because that is how life is. Everything always connects. It's just like people, we are all interconnected. So that
Hmm.
was my ethos of design. And that's why I wrote the book.
That's so interesting because, so I'm also African. I was born in Zimbabwe and I left.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And I left when I was 22. My mom was a single mom, but not as young as your mom was. And so I can understand from another African perspective how tough it is and how you need to find your safe places until you can get yourself out. But
True.
I want us to bring back the talking about the linking and the connectedness because I started as a musician and then I moved into art and now digital web design and all that sort of stuff. And there are so many different connections that once you start with one art form, it connects with everything else. And then
Exactly.
I just want to add another thing where you're talking about your perspective as an immigrant going and working elsewhere and how the sociology becomes this fascinating thing because you weren't born in the same place, became an adult, continued working. You had to leave. And then that perspective of, oh, what's my perspective as the immigrant here? Or now I'm a citizen, or like you were saying, now me and my partner have got a place in BC, so we're Canadian. It's such an interesting perspective. Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure, sure. And trust me, this time I will try to be brave because I know my heart and my brain when they just go. The interesting thing about immigration, and which I weirdly tied to travel as well, because just like you, I came to the United States at the age of 22. Which is an interesting, coincidence. However, something that I've learned along the line of travel is because I started traveling at a very young age, was each time I go to a place, there is an interesting connectiveness that I feel. It's either it's a connection to the city or to the connection to the people or connection to the culture or whatever it is. It's always an influence. And I think that was my one of the fundamentals shaping the perspective of, well, here is the thing. Everywhere you go, you still the same human being and you still see the same archetypes of people. Take, for example, Zimbabwe. I mean, you have the rich, you have the ultra rich, you have the middle class, you have all of the high classes. The same thing with personalities. You have people that are like so, vivacious. You also have people that are so quiet, like me. I'm so quiet right now. You have all of those, behavioral
Mhm.
pattern and archetypes. The interesting thing is the same thing you see if you go to the United States, if you go to Canada. I mean, my partner's name is Steve. Steve and I, we are like snowbirds where we travel a lot and we have properties in different places. And, each time we are in all of this place, that is exactly what happens. It just feels refreshing and it feels like you are deeper and deeper being connected to nature. And look, I love the snow. I love the mountains. I love the water. I love the woods. Like all of the anything that involves nature. Of course, I'm all in because you know why? That is the fundamentals of life, and that is why we are all here, and that is why you exist, I exist, this book exists, everything, because it's just a lot. And for me, as an immigrant, that is how it feels as well, because it feels like you're away from home, but at the same time, you are creating a new home where you are, because home is where your heart is.
I just want to take a seat back and listen to you guys talk because I love accents.
Gosh,
You have
So
an
yeah.
accent.
I guess I do to you guys, right? But I just want to sit back and listen to you guys have a conversation.
Have a cup of tea. Like, follow, and subscribe on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And find us at theconnectorshub.com.
Yeah,
So,
really, truly. I'm fascinated by you, Kelly. What a beautiful story and I love how you talked about interconnectedness. I love where your passion comes from. I love when I see, these common threads of the path that people have followed because the opportunities just start coming up or they saw the vision or the next I can see, like you have this real amazing energy to you and maybe because you are so connected to nature. I think people who are connected to nature have a certain energy about them. Quentin and I are both like avid nature lovers as well. I have like a million questions. I don't know where to start.
Please start from number 1 million.
I'm really fascinated to talk about the design that you do right now, actually. And I want to talk a little bit about the collaboration piece because you said you love to collaborate and bring something together with another person. And so, like, when it comes to the way you think about design and you're bringing something to life, what are you looking for, seeking for in that collaboration and with that person, so that you can really like, how are you connecting to them so you can really bring that vision to life for them within that collaboration?
That is a beautiful question, and thank you. Both of you have been a breath of fresh air, I would say. So,
nice.
one interesting thing about collaboration that I say this, people always get it wrong, is, I mean, at the heart of collaboration is the main architect, which is empathy. And then something interesting about empathy is a lot of the time people think, oh, empathy is just for a week, or empathy is a skill that you can never have. It's not possible and all of that. My friends, I've had conversations with people, times without number, and sometimes I get exhausted. However, each conversations always mirror one truth. Empathy is real and collaboration is deeply in need of empathy. So I think that's one of the
Mm.
first steps for me, because you can't collaborate if you can't empathize with the other person. And it's not necessarily about putting yourself in another person's shoe, because frankly, it can be challenging to do that. However, something that really helps or permeates, that bridge is when you try imagine what a person is going through, right? Let's say, for example, Sean is an architect. He works with a big architecture firm in Washington, D.C. And also is a professor of architecture at Notre Dame University, or University of Notre Dame. I butcher those words sometimes a lot. Apologies. But one interesting thing is Sean being in those two fields. I mean, it's the same field, however, in two different ways, right? One is extremely practical and one is theoretical, right? Which is a perfect bridge for him as an intelligent human. However, if Quentin, right, or Jolene is to collaborate with Sean, right? Maybe you have a project and that you are working on an hospital project in New Zealand, for instance. You have to travel. Sean has to be with you. And something like this happened. The client really, really needs to see Sean because it's a critical ingredient to the project. What would you do, or what would Jolene do at that point? Perhaps you might say, well, we need to talk to this client, and the clients have to understand that Sean just lost his mom. So basically, his frame of mind will be completely different, and he will not have all of what he needs, the mental faculty tools, in order to function efficiently and adequately for that particular situation. That conversation alone with you having with the client, that is just a simple act of empathy, of making the clients understand the deep need of why Sean need that week off or need that day, or why they have to resume at another time. So it's just as simple as that. So when I work with people as a designer or even as a fashion model, because when I was a fashion model back then, this sounds so stupid, but hear me out. So the drill for fashion models is you are expected to come looking pretty, of course, and looking extremely thin, which means don't just have a cube of sugar, so you'll be fine, right? So, and when you come, all of the wardrobe will be ready, because they'll say, okay, today you might be acting like a monkey or a fish, depending if you watch Zoolander, the movie,
One of my favorites.
I love Zoolander to the core. Jesus. Oh, you see when he was swimming and trying to impress the dad, I'm a mermaid. Come on. That is all of the things that models have to go through, right? Like, okay, he's jumping like a monkey. Okay, now give me the monkey jump. Do this, do that, right?
My God.
The
I'm sorry.
interesting thing is that is the life of a model. The stage is
Wow.
ready. Camera, lights, action. Give me whatever the photographer or the instructor says you should do. For me,
Yeah.
I always go with my own wardrobe. Yeah, I always go with my own wardrobe. And the reason being because I know that my body, I love a specific fit. So, and I want to collaborate with the designer or the artist that I have to work with that assignment. So I got prepared. That is my own way of collaborating, right? So, and when I get it, they're like, oh, okay, this is what you're wearing. But I try to go with a theme so that I am just not off at all, because I'm like, at the end of the
Mm.
day, if the pants is too short, or if it's too tight, or the blouse, whatever it is, it's heel fitting, then they will feel bad. They'll be like, oh my god, we have to reschedule, we have to do this. Or you have to manage it. So for me, as a former model, to prefer what I do is I come with my own wardrobe, and they're always like, he's ready. I said, my darling, you have to be ready unless you go home, and things like that. So that way, I got a reputation in the industry as that model that will bring his own wardrobe. Like, yeah, you see me, I bring wardrobe down because clothing was not, what's it called? It was not an inconvenience, of course, but it's just what it is. So to bring it back, right? When I need to design with any person, that is one of the fundamentals, that level of empathy. And also I try to play to their strength, because I know what I want. The way my autistic brain thinks, sometimes I can sketch ideas that are so impossible. You'd be like, how are you gonna do this? I'll be like, I think you can do it. I'm just going to work with you, bring it happen. And including
Mm,
each and every architectural interior that I do, I always build something unique for my clients. Always. If it's an art piece, if you look at www.fiderdesign.com, that is my architectural website, you will see some of the architectures that we've done, and you will see some pieces that are just unique to that client. You don't see repetition at all. It's just
mm,
because of that fundamentals of like, okay, I trust you. I bring the right people to the room. Integrated collaboration. Look for the
Mm.
right skill set. If you need to be the Picasso of the moment, sketch whatever it is you want to sketch out and present it to them. And here's the best part. I love it when they say they can do it.
mm. It's always a good challenge, hey?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yes. Yeah, when you're like, oh, so I don't think we can do this, then I look at it because in my head, I've seen it done even though it's not been done before. So my
Mm,
brain just map it out. My brain is like, this is how you put it. This is how you put it down. I've never done it before. It's just imagination. And I call it strategic imagination because you have to use data as well for that part. Anywho, then they're like, well, how are we gonna do it? Oh, there was a contractor that I worked with that nearly fought me. I said, I'm ready for this. And Steve was laughing so hard. Steve was like, yeah, Kelly's gonna win. And he's like, so there is no way we can build this shop. It's a floating shop that I wanted to do, and it's gonna be in front of a mirror and things like that. So it's like there is no way we can do this. I said we can do it. I have seen it done. I had never did it before. It was like, no, there's no way we can do it. I said, okay, you know what? Then I sketched it out again. I said, all you just have to do is cut here, cut here, cut here, and put this leg here, put this leg here. And it's like, oh, I see. It
mm,
worked. So that is just the whole ethos of the collaboration is empathize with them, trust them with your vision. And when you trust them with your vision, try as much as possible to ensure you have the right skills on set. You were in that room for whatever it is you're trying to do, product, service, systems. I love system design more than anything. So it just
mm.
that is how I approach collaboration.
Oh my gosh, I love all that. So my housemate always says this, lead with empathy. That's her saying. She says it all the time. So yeah, that one I can get on board with totally. So I heard empathy, playing to your strengths, being prepared, bringing the right people. You said strategic something. I forget what the last.
Strategic imagination.
In
Strategic imagination. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
a yeah, strategic imagination is I stumbled on the word about 7 years ago, and I think it was Karen Ho that first used it, to that to the way that someone did. Karen Ho is an incredible gentle lady that wrote Empire of AI. Yeah, so she and because I had a mentor, Jen Lecky. We banter a lot, and some of the time we just try to look for etymology of words. And I recall, Jen was just like, the way you think, you leverage historical data, you look at the current and imminent future data to be able to to design what is to come, or to
mm,
forecast the data for the future. There must be a word for it. I said, I don't know. That's just how my eidetic brain works. And I don't know if there is anything
mm.
like that. And John did a research. It's like, I think it is strategic imagination. I said, well, let me look. And I did a lot of reading on it. I was just like, holy moly cow. Yeah, indeed it is. And, you know, and it's just something that is so interesting that it aid you to look back and now and tomorrow and the future, in order to predict or create something that's new or just rebrand something that already exists. That's an interesting concept that is so pragmatic.
Mm.
It's such a good concept because it gives the whole imagination piece, which can be a little bit flighty and up in the air and castles in the sky. And it
Yep.
draws strings down and it says,
Yep.
think about this and think about
Yep.
this and think about this. So it's a very clever way of
Mhm.
allegorizing something that can then be put into a structure and a system, and you can assign tasks and you can ask people
Exactly.
to join you on the journey or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To your point as well, it is just something that you can't push it away because the interesting part is Walt Disney, right, was, in my humble opinion, one of the kings of strategic imagination, Mickey Mouse, right? And it was just now Mickey Mouse is a household name. And aside that, if we have to bring it to the field of architecture, you talk about my boyfriend who is dead, but I'm still married to him, Antonio Gaudi. Gaudi is the one that designed Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. He also designed Casa Batlló and so many other incredible biomimic architecture.
Biomimicry. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
and he was ahead of his time as well. He came up with a concept that we later discovered 20 years, ago. Biomimicry, geez, it's kind of new. I mean, if I'm 95 years old, that's new. Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting concept when you look at it, and when you look at Antonio Gaudi's creation, you will be marveled because it's so timeless, and it's something that now, if you try to replicate, it will not be the same thing. And another person as well, and I promise I will shut up, is Zaha Hadid. Zaha Hadid was that Arabian Iranian who also, I think she had British heritage as well. And you can see a lot of her work, right? You go to Miami and you see one of the beautiful home that she created. I think I'm trying to remember the name. There are many of those that she's created. But anyway, these are people that think ahead of time using strategic imagination.
Do you use a lot of nature aspects and biomimicry in your design?
I
And
do.
can you share? I know what biomimicry is, I think Quentin does, but for our listeners, can you share what biomimicry is for people who may not know?
Absolutely. I'll be glad to do that. So one of the simple examples that I say about, biomimicry that I think is really titillating in the different aspect is the aeroplane. Oh my God, talking about the aeroplane, look at a dove just came to my window here and is looking at me, half
Yeah.
mates that I want to join. Jesus Christ. So, but that is a perfect example of a biomimicry. So the aeroplane, to our dear listeners, was inspired by birds. So like, okay, what can we create that can fly? And because we see the way the birds spread their wings and they take off, but the landing and all of that. So what is that one thing that can really help humanity? And that was how the concept of the aeroplane came about. So that is just an example of biomimicry. And if you're looking for another example of biomimicry, when you pick my book, The Power of Hands, you will see another example. So many examples of biomimicry. One, systems, came from tree, because if you look at trees and you look at humans, there's a lot of interconnectedness that comes about because, I mean, of course, the weather that have influence on the trees, like the systemic force, the trunk of the trees, like the practice, then you look at the roots and all of that. So those are the fertility that really all the interconnections that make a person or makes a system work. So there's just so many parallel between the structure and the tree and the structure of the human system too. Of course, the human body is another biomimicry that is so alive as well, because each and every part of the human body is a beautiful story that we get to like witness all the time, because how the whole body is regulated and connecting to the brain or the spinal cord and all of that. So everything works together. So I always joke that nature actually is the masterclass leader for biomimicry. And it is true because everything is interconnected and you're like, can't you see that? But anyway, it's always an interesting feeling to just use to talk about nature, because I said all of the books that I'll keep writing I will just use the human body as the metaphor to tell the stories. So I started with hands, brain is in works, and tongue is in works too. So there's just interesting systems that I'm trying to infuse together to make people understand the collectiveness of it and how we have to structurally and strategically integrate and collaborate.
And additionally, you use this a lot in your design as well, like that
Oh
kind of
gosh, I
concept?
do.
Yeah, yeah.
I do. So that is the reason why. If you go to any of my projects, there is always either I'm trying to bring like Franklin Lloyd Wright, bring nature into the house, because to me it is, I want to create this ambience from architectural design perspective. I want to like create a space when you walk in, each and every angle of it, right, is a system that gives you a completely different feeling. So the bedroom, right, the design of the bedroom is, we know it's not just for sleep. We know sex exists, and honey, you can't hide from it. Life is life. And when I design a bedroom, I make sure that it's extremely versatile, right? Where my clients can sleep and also my clients can have their beautiful sexual life. So it's just that beautiful
Yeah.
integration. And
Nice.
the patio design is also okay. Everything has to be functional. I'm a geek for functionality. Okay, it's because I use the principles of people, planet, pragmatism, and profit. That is my 4 Ps, and that's the pillar that I design my book around as well. And with my clients, if I'm designing any project, even if I'm designing system for KPMG and the big clients that I worked with, Google, Apple, and all of that. Again, I have to weave those pillars to find a way to ensure that, okay, one, you're designing for people. I'm not designing for Chihuahua or Poodle that will wag their tail at me. No, I'm designing for humans. So because of that, I have to be very, very thoughtful and integrative, most importantly, empathetic to the people that would utilize the system, the product, the service, or in this case, the space. So, and from there, I think about the planet perspective. That is the deep integration of nature, right? I'm like, okay, what has nature taught me from a system design perspective? What has nature taught me from an architectural design? What does nature taught me from products? I ask myself all those questions, and most importantly, I ask my client lots of questions that sometimes get them so irritated, and I have my popcorn moments when they are so vexing. I'm like, yes, get mad, get angry, but give me the answers to my question if I'm gonna like work with you. And,
Yeah.
I don't do it in a way that is irritating, because I try as much as possible to make my client feel like, they are my friends. Because once you have a client feeling safe, safety is important, then that client will be willing to tell you whatever that you want to hear to get your work done and make your work more efficient and enjoyable, functional. So, and the third piece of it is the pragmatism, because number one, you can have ideas, but my darling, your ideas have to be visible. It have to be realistic. You must be able to like bring it out. So that is when the philosophy of pragmatism come in. You're like, okay, we can create this whole whatever it is, house or product or service. How beneficial is it? How realistic? How visible can we bring this to the market? So, and the last bit, which is the profit, is whatever you build have to be sustainable, because profit is actually what sustains us. You have to sustain what sustains you. So it's just, again, that deeper level of people, the planet, pragmatism, and profit. And that is my design ethos outro. So, except I tell you about the hands, which is the fundamentals of them all: humanity, adaptation, nature, design, sustainability. And that's what hands stand for: HANDS. Yes. So, use your finger as you count it, and voila. Makes sense.
Well, when I decide to design a house, I know who I'm calling.
Yeah.
Please, sure. I'll be happy to do that.
I've always
Focus
had
on
this.
the bedroom.
Yeah, 100%. I've always had this vision though of my home being all the elements, like earth, air, wind, fire. Like I've always had this vision of that's what the inside of my and outside of my home would be. So I love
You
that.
know, yeah, it's so funny. There was a home I designed in Virginia, deep northern Virginia. And the interesting thing is, I try to your point, like bring all of those elements to life. So my client's home had zero curtains, so it's all glass. And
Mm.
trust me, I felt like I was in what is this word when you're in a pan, like a fish out of the water, so happy. Oh my gosh, that's not what I'm looking for. That make me sound so dumb right now. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so
That's
but
okay.
anyway,
That's okay.
I felt that I was just in a sandbox. And that's what I was looking for. I felt I was in a sandbox, like playing endlessly with so many tools, and the sun was so infinite. So, and designing each and every space and the integration, talking about a glass house, but the integration of the wood, the plants, and all of those, all of the natural elements, and including because he had his own pool and things like that. Everything just came to life, right? Using those elements of biomimicry and
Mhm.
most importantly, trying, because I recall at first my client was just like, just design anything for me. I said, I'm sorry, I don't work that way.
Oof.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I trust you. I've seen your work. Just design anything. I remember I looked at my nails and there's a joke that I have. Oh, my nails are growing so long right now. That means I don't care what you're saying. If I just do my hair like that, my client saw that. My client was like, Kelly, what are you doing? He said, my nails are so good. I'm sorry right now. And it's like, are you telling me you don't care about what I'm saying? I said, yes, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm just being real with you. I can design arch patch which for you. Would you like it? I was like, okay, all right. Ask me your questions. I said, sure, let's go for a walk.
Yeah. Good plan. Good plan.
Yeah, so it's still bad, but yeah, it brings it home, right? It makes me human, and also it makes my client human, through the use of humor and stupidity. It has to be a classic stupidity, and that's how I put it.
I think it's a really clever tactic that you use because it sort of like disarms people. And humor is one of those things that can get you out of whatever your previous frame of mind was. And
That's
like,
true.
if you're angry, it can deflate the anger. If you're stressed and anxious, it can push that away and encourage feelings of like togetherness and safety. And no, I think it's a good tactic.
I use it as a deflection tool.
Yeah, I
No,
think a
it's
lot of us do that though.
we all do. And I think, that is part of
Yeah.
the collective and of humanity, because my friends, if you go out there, wherever you go, if you go to, let's say, I almost said Jimbootwala. Jimbootwala was a fictional town in The Power of Hand that I created. It's Jesus, it's not Kelly, come back to reality. Let's say, for example, you go to Washington, D.C. Washington D.C. is pride for seriousness. Traditionally, not 2025, but traditionally, it's pride for seriousness and things like that. However, another thing that is so common that I've noticed too in DC, people are humans; they will laugh as well, right? So find something that just make them come out of their shell. It's a joke, just and they will stop. They're like, tell them a joke or something, or
Mhm.
just make them feel like I was intelligently stupid sometimes, something that is in their
Yeah.
wheelhouse, and they'll be like, you got me right there. I'm like, yes. So, you get people to your point out of that space of mental rigidity. They are still like being so rigid, perhaps because they've been angry before, or maybe their stiletto was too tight and they needed a pom pom shoe. Whatever it is, just something. Before you know, they are relaxed and they are with you 100%, and they will really help supply the necessary information from a design perspective, things. And that that's something we've noticed that really works with people. We all animals that want to laugh too.
Well, similar to when you came on the show, we were all a little frustrated because we couldn't find you. And, we had to laugh about it and take a big breath together. So, it happens. And I agree.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm so glad that you've outlined your 4 Ps, your 4 pillars, and you were talking about the hands framework. And I want to come back to your use of the phrase ROI, because like in corporate, in business, we understand ROI as a return on investment. A company needs to know that if we're going to be doing this project, we're going to stock it with these people and we're going to follow this process and it's going to take this long and we need to get this software, blah, blah, blah. But you're not calling it return on investment. You're calling it return on integrity. And I want to know how that fits with your pillars and what you think of return on integrity.
I got goosebumps when you said it, because I think it's something that I would say a lot of people don't get here from the perspective of, first of all, the four pillars. And I think when a lot of folks read the book and they started commenting on Amazon, I was just like, God, thank God they got it. But what it meant is, let's be realistic. You are in different spaces right now, and I'm in here. I'm in St. Martin, and here we're having this conversation. However, you know something that is happening. We are living in a very fractured and fragile society where these days it's hard for you to trust anyone because everything is buzzwords. Take for example, Amazon will say this, oh, we are rolling out this program, we are doing this, we are doing that, oh, we're giving back to our people. Everything is just a performance theater. It's just very theatrics because it's like, okay, they are not really trying to cater to the bottom line, right? Again, humanity, everything starts with the people. It starts with people. And in order for you to be successful, right? And there's a saying that I love so much, which is man cannot exist alone. I mean, I'm not a big, Christian person and per se because I practice Buddhism and other philosophies, just a very, very real. However, I will tell you that everything comes back again in full circle, right? I mean, the Christians have said man existed alone, then God took pity on man and said, "Oh my God, my beautiful Adam, you can exist alone. I need a gorgeous person for you." And
We've got to get you in the
voila. Exactly. Or Steve, who knows? Well, anyway, it just happened.
Exactly.
So, that happens, and voila! Before you know, it started the expansion, and here we are. Regardless, all of the tales that we've been told, right, about the architecture of the humankind and how it all started. But one thing fundamental, accurate, is you need another person to survive and to be successful. You need, if you don't know how to cook, right, then you have to go to a restaurant. You're not cooking your food in the restaurant. You're paying. You see that even act of service is still part of collaboration. So that is how I see it. And well, return on integrity. He says it's like, well, we have to come back to the roots. We have to come back to what really makes us human. We have to come back with what makes us successful. And we have to come back home. We have to come back to building integrity again. Because 2024 and 2025 were biggest year globally. Companies were stripping up their DEI, they went in and all of that. And voila, if this administration is out of the door now, the next administration, oh my God, let's do ESG again. Let's do this, let's do that. So all of those, we are seeing companies' integrity fracture on a broad daylight. And 2025 was, to me, when I said 2025 was the global outbreak of our nation because almost everywhere you go, I mean, in Canada, look at what was happening within the Trudeau government, and when oh gosh, I don't even want to like call his name, and the man in the United States,
I know.
yeah,
I'm with
the
you.
man in the,
Voldemort, is it?
exactly when that man called another leader, first governor of his own country,
Yeah.
that was an insult. And trust me, I remember on that ski lift, in Kimberley, where I saw the sign, "My country is not for sale." It sent chills down to my spine, and I was just like, this one really hit hard. And trust me, everyone came together, and here we are, right? Because I recall that people in the BC, British Columbia era, they were like, no, they're like, no to Trudeau, blah blah blah. But here we are. We came together because we're like, no, don't do that to any of us at all. So that is what is happening. So companies will get to the point when they have to come back and they have to find a way to restore their integrity, and that is where return on integrity comes in association with the 4 Ps, because the triple bottom line, respect. However, there are loopholes in it. And to me, it doesn't feel that really pragmatic to like drive it home because a lot of the ideas were not even visible. So when you bring in the lever of pragmatism and you bring in home of return on integrity, it just makes your clients, it makes your people, right? Again, the organization will not exist if the people are not ready to come to work. The organization exists because the people exist. And as you know, the people will always have the power because the people are the heart of every innovation that is out there because it's the people that will use it. So that is why I made it a case of return on integrity. In order for you to be successful as a human being, or to be successful as an individual, and to be successful as an organization, or to be successful as a service offering, you need to have that integrity. You can't greenwash any initiative or any service or any product. You have to be real. And I think that is what will happen when the dust is settled. Because now everyone will be like, well, you were the company in that rolled off your DEI initiative just because someone threatened you. So no, by
Yeah.
God, that's where it comes in.
I think you're exactly right about that, about the world has reached a turning point and we need to push back. And without getting too political and talk about the
Indeed.
US and Canada and the 51st state, like we're seeing the new mayor of New York is
Yeah.
a young man.
Yes.
He's an immigrant. He's pushing back. He's saying, guys, boycott Starbucks. They're not treating their workers and their employees well. And, you know, maybe Starbucks as a company that has a big enough profit and GDP than most countries around the world, maybe that shouldn't exist. Maybe we should tax you a little more. So I'm seeing this return on integrity start as an idea. And I'm very much hoping that people pick up your book and they learn more about how they can structure it in 4 pillars. Like, follow, and subscribe on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, and find us at theconnectorshub.com.
One critical thing too there is this book. Sometimes when I think about my creativity behind everything, I just laugh at myself because I try to bring real world practicality to make people understand, like drive a line. Because sometimes humans, you have to like pull their hair apart and like whisper or yell at their brain so that they will understand things. But as you know, it's a work of it's a hybrid work of fiction and non-fiction, right? But the fiction aspect of it, the allegorical kingdom of Tulum, actually brought the whole thing to life, like a movie that takes you in, like everything you read, included the frameworks and case studies. I talk about Oprah. I talked about so many people as well. You will see how everything just play out. But there is a line there about the Sumerian kingdom. So the Sumerian kingdom is a kingdom that is just not too far from the Tulum kingdom. However, the Sumerian kingdom, one of the things that they did, they had an interesting government that decided to roll out so many executive order to strip people of diversity initiatives and things like that. So we bring it home. We understand what we're referring to. And also we saw how all of those things led to the outbreaks of the Sumerian kingdom, how it became an abandoned system. Because of why? When you kill diversity, you kill innovation. That's just how life is. You have to understand the importance of bringing people or like different type of people into umbrella. And trust me, it is gorgeous because you see all of those brains, all of those people. You say, oh my God, tell me more, open your mouth. Oh, you have an accent. There's just a lot about that fundamentals of bringing people of different caliber, different school of thought, different gender, different race, you name it. I try not to use the word race because to me, it's a weird social construct that have really permeated and has destroyed many fundamentals of humanity. So I did not use the word race in my book at all. But when you bring those diversity of skill sets and people, you are creating a system that will last long. You're creating a system that will be so strong. And that is how, I was able to bring it back again to integrity. You can't destroy the system. If you destroy the system, well, you've eroded the trust of the people. And in order for you to ensure that you have the trust of the people, is for you to design with the people in mind from A to Z and to ensure that this is sustainable.
Love that. Again, I probably have about 4 questions all wrapped up into one. Well, we are talking a little bit about entrepreneurship here. You're an entrepreneur, Kelly, and I want to know, like, every entrepreneur comes with self-leadership. It's learning to lead yourself quite a bit, and I'm learning this myself, and some days I don't feel like leading myself. I want somebody else to do it for me.
Yep.
I want to hand it over. And I think that's where rest comes into play. For Kelly, what does Kelly's self-leadership look like? And how do you like to lead others? How do you think others see you as leader?
That's a beautiful question. Gosh, how am I going to answer that in 24s on one? Nah, just try to be simple. So, I, I,
Uh,
I, I practice regenerative leadership. So,
oh,
and yeah, it's something I write about as well. I just love regenerative leadership because one of the things I love the word regenerative, including the regenerative system, regenerative innovation, and all of
mm,
that, or regenerative design from a system design perspective. But leadership for me is I grew up leading myself. That was the first thing because I grew up to be a contrarian of culture. And I had to do that to survive because
Mm,
I was born into a family where, okay, one side were Jehovah's Witness and the other side were Catholics. So it's like night and day, right?
wow.
So,
Yeah.
so
mm,
because of that, I had to be so mindful of how I play my game or how I communicate. So, and I noticed I didn't have any role models at all, and I decided that well, I will use nature as my role model. So everything that I do was just inspired by nature. I observe. I just go talk to trees. This was weird, but at the same time, I would tell you that it was so rejuvenating. You know, when I go for a hike, I'm a deep meditator. So when I go for a hike, or I'm just sitting on my bed on a chair meditating with my shamanic music or my ambient music, I feel like I'm in heaven because one, it's my body just find a way to like come back, right? And I just feel relaxed. I feel rejuvenated. And because of that, it is hard for you to make me angry. And when I lead the same way as well, because I try to make my people to have that rest, to have that break, to understand that life is too short. And the reality is one, you can't give what you don't have. And if you're dead today, life goes on. You're replaceable. So those, you know, fundamentals to me just exactly how I shape myself and how I lead. And I will make you laugh. I'll just say this and I will shut up. I said to Steve recently, I believe that was yesterday, we were driving and he's like, oh, he's trying to like reconnect to so person. I said, that's amazing. And that's good. If you guys fall in love, I'll be so happy for you guys. And I would just say, bye, au revoir, next page. He was shocked and he was like, oh my God, why would you say that? That wasn't kind. I said, no, that's just being pragmatic. I was like, no, I was like, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is because, no, 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 I will not. And I said to him, I said, I will not allow myself to be walked over by a man or a woman. No, it's not happening by anybody because at the end of the day, I don't want to fight. I just want to leave. I just want to have a life. So because life is too short, if I am harboring dangers or evil thoughts or pain, I won't be myself with you tomorrow. And we will not have a
mm,
great relationship. So it's better that I create a space where you're thriving and happy. I'm thriving and happy, and together we can integratively collaborate. And they say, oh, that makes sense. That means you're not breaking up with me. I say, honey, if I want to, I would have done that since yesterday. So I would just, close it and just amicably. So
Kelly,
that is how I lead. That just it's just how I lead, how I
we like
am.
honesty. We like
honesty is
honesty here.
great. Being clear and direct is great. I think that you should be some sort of TV host and have some TV show because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are
Percent.
both sides hilarious and very deep and very philosophic.
Yeah.
Thank you. I thought you said I was pretty, but that's fine. It's okay. It's a philosophic. I'll take
You're
that.
pretty
But
as
thank you.
well. You're pretty as
Oh my God,
well.
thank
Don't you
you.
worry.
Andrew, you do lead with empathy. I can feel that in the way you care about nature, people, and all those things, which is brilliant. Yeah, that's why we
Yeah.
have the show, and I'm really glad that you could join us because, yeah, we love talking to anyone who's, I think, well connected to themselves and to others and have a story to share. And it's been beautiful to host you today. Yeah,
Don't forget he's pretty.
he's very Listen, I stalked his LinkedIn page many times and his
That's funny.
website.
No, I am so grateful. I am, and thank you so much because life is too short not to be present, and to be present for yourself is to be present for others. I'm a fangirl when it comes to Drag Race, for example, and one of the things that I've learned for Mama RuPaul is if you can't love yourself, how the hell you're gonna love somebody else? And it's true, you can't give what you don't have. So I'm not perfect. I try to be as simple as possible. However, I try to live with my heart and my head. So, and I'm grateful that you guys have me. And sorry I couldn't make you laugh enough. It's okay.
Well, you can make us cry too. That's all right. Is there anything you're working on right now that you're excited about that you want to share?
Oh, sure. I am. I mean, next year is our book tour, right? Working on it. And the most important thing is, yes, there is a project that is coming soon. And I will be designing, hopefully, and I speak it to existence, designing the TED stage for Naples, for the inaugural event.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. Yeah, but this is what I say though, because I recall I'm supposed to be skiing and that period, supposed to be on the slope. I say, let the universe direct. Let
Yeah.
the universe be the project manager. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So, and I put my heart out there. The universe has that. And yes, the skills are there and all of that. I'm willing to find the right people. But any way I can help to support, to bring a person's dream to reality, I'm always, elated to show up and support. That is one of the big projects that I'm working on. And the other project that is coming is Power of Brains. So that is something that really is whipping in my bum right now. I'm like, Jesus Christ, help me. Am I gonna do this? Because I need to top, the power of hands and the power of tongue. That is done with publishing or but the power
Okay.
of brain is just something that I'm looking forward to. So because I kind of see it as building regenerative, atmospheric, was the I oh Jesus Christ, help me. No, I'm not gonna go into it. But the
It's
brain
all
also
good.
stands for it stands for an acronyms too. But it's just the same thematics as the power of hands and tongue, using the human body as a metaphor to
Mm.
explain to people the deep part of collaboration and integration. So and most importantly, the nervous system. So there's just a lot that I'm weaving in from a neuroscience perspective. So that is something that makes me happy. And plus, managing UTM, Why This Matter, that is the editorial, platform that I managed and work with a lot of incredible writers. I'm always looking for writers. So if you guys love to write as well, please join
Oh,
us. Thank you.
okay.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
just excited. I
Will
started a Substack account, so I've been writing on that,
Nice.
and
nice. Well
that's my new
done. Well
thing.
done.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what are you most excited about as well, Quentin? Because I know you started a Substack, Jolene. So, how are you?
Oh, me. I've been 3 months project manager of this new project, and 2 weeks ago we finished a new system for half of it. So
Nice,
next year is finishing off the other half of the system,
nice.
and I'm pretty excited because we had a meeting with some of our funders last week, and we used this as an idea, and they said, we're doing digital adoption in this whole department of the federal government. Can you come and speak to
Wow,
us and give our
wow.
idea as a project? And we were like, yes, we'll be there. Just tell us when. We'd be so happy to share. So that's some cool stuff that I'm working on. Pretty excited about.
Nice. Nice. That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
so Darling, your
Mhm.
Substack, what is it about?
Oh, geez. Well, I I'm always looking I'm always looking for ways to show my variety of sides that exist within me. A while back, I had come up with a name called the Mindful Deviant. And
That's
so
powerful.
it's me wanting to share these parts of me that I don't always say to everybody because not everybody's going to get it or resonate or, it's just that's sort of my alter ego, I guess, a little bit. When I
Cool.
discovered it, I'm like, oh, this is where I should have been the whole time. I shouldn't have been fussing with Instagram. I shouldn't have been on the other things. Substack is more, because you're connecting with a lot of like-minded people who are also writing really interesting things. So I'm called the mindful deviant there, and it's really all the things I've ever wanted to talk about, write about. Yeah, my
Nice.
Cool.
The
thoughts and
mindful
whatever comes up.
deviant. Wow, that is incredible.
Thank you. Search for me, subscribe, like all the things.
Yes,
That's it.
yes, yes.
That's it.
Speaking of, where can our audience find you if they wanted to search for you? Where's the best way to get a hold of you, Kelly?
So I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on X, I'm on Facebook under the name The Kelly Dowd. TheKellydowd. Or you can just type Kelly Dowd MBA MA on your web browser and you'll find information about me. Because so here's the thing, if you just type Kelly Dowd, you will find a lot of pretty women and you would see me easily.
Good for you. Good for you.
My God, it's just like, oh God, the first time I tried, I just typed Kelly Dowd online and I saw this gorgeous, she has red hair, so damn it, I don't have red hair. How are people gonna know? Yeah, so then I started putting NBA in there and they were like, okay. Then I started showing up. I said, oh God, Jesus, thank you. Okay, now.
Clever. Clever.
There I
So
am. There I am. Love it.
yeah,
Nice.
so you can find me online with Kelly Dowd or on LinkedIn as well, Kelly Dowd. And yeah, if you type on Amazon Kelly Dowd, I think I'm the only one dating it yet. So then you'll
Yes,
find
I
my
did
book.
find your book on Amazon too. So
Yeah.
I'm
Me
really
too. Me too.
curious. I think I'll be one of my next reads for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And when you do too, please like and subscribe and put your review. Like, pow, pow, pow. So,
Totally.
yes.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that we have all that information in the show notes once we are ready to get your episode up and live. I have to say, I'm actually very jealous you're in St. Martin because I do love it there. I took myself for my 40th birthday and I had
Wow.
such a good
Lovely.
time. Yeah. So
Awesome.
Nice. Were you on the Dutch side or were you on the French side?
I was at the hotel right beside the airport. Right beside the airport. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Where you see like the planes like coming right over. It's
yeah,
pretty
yep,
loud.
yep. Yeah, yeah. We drove by it and look, it's just so real when you just see a big plane. Oh my God, that's a huge bird. Help me,
Yeah.
don't me. But anyway, have you been to St. Martin as well, Quentin?
No, I've never been, but I must
You
put it on the
should,
list,
you
right?
should.
Yeah.
Jolene, please drag him to St. Martin. He's getting well
I would
today.
love to. Definitely don't get to hang out enough together. So we're just
That's
waiting for our
true.
big sponsors. So we're looking for sponsors. Anyone?
Yeah, it was the thing. Yeah, we put it out there. Good, it's
Exact.
incredible, and really, you connect the connector podcast. I think that is two dudes are also is running for USNA, and it has incredible stories so that your audience will appreciate. And the other one, Mr. Berger, he just released this book, The Narrative Edge, and the power of
Okay.
storytelling, something like that. And it's also a powerhouse, and he has a wide audience too. And this will be a great collaboration for you too.
Oh, we love that.
Thank
And we
you.
and we
Thank you for
always take
that.
referrals. So thank you for sharing. If anyone else has
Yeah.
somebody they'd love to refer to the show as a guest, please send them our way.
Absolutely.
And we are having a theme coming up that is about using your voice. So I think that would be maybe an alignment for us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep. Yep.
exactly.
Yep. Yep. No, that'll be
Awesome.
perfect to carry. I will just give you a swift, synopsis and the reason why he's running for U.S. government. So he was falsely arrested by the police dating back to April 7th last year. And that was after the eclipse. The eclipse was the 8th. was the 6th, sorry, and he was driving in Michigan around like 3 a.m. And it would tell you the whole story, but they apprehended him because of his a black person driving a Cadillac at that time of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, so they will also try to plant drugs in his car. So
Sure.
they were like, yeah, they would drop all the charges because then they did all of the blood tests. They charged him for so many things, all of them were all false, and nothing came out positive. So and they were like, oh yeah, Fritzy guy, we're dropping him. Like he's like, no, I'm suing you people. So he's
Good for
having
him.
that. Yeah, he's having that fight, and that is what actually fueled him to run for the U.S. Senate, representing Alabama. Yeah,
Wow.
a future senator coming to your show. That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this conversation today, Kelly. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time and your patience and the humor and the joy and all the things you brought to the show today. So thank you for joining us on the Connectors podcast. Please stay
Thank you.
tuned for any other upcoming episodes that we have. And if you know anyone that you think would like this episode, please share it, pass it along.
Absolutely.
And we will see you next time.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me again. Have a good one.